Have you ever experienced the kind of devotion that you wanted to dedicate your life to? Well, I experienced that feeling not a lot of years ago. Let me tell you about my story and what I have learned from it. But to start, let me tell you about a day which I experienced around half a year ago. So half a year ago, I visited my old German school, which I attended until 10th grade, before I decided to spend an exchange year in the United States in 2018-19. That day, they had an open day for prospective students, and almost all of the teachers were there. Even my old classmates, who were seniors at that time, were helping out with the event as well. And since my old school was just across the street, I could not think of any reason to miss the event. So when I arrived, my old teachers remembered me immediately. They were asking me how I was, what my exchange year was like, and how I liked my new school, the Leipzig International School. One teacher, my old biology teacher actually, she came up to me with a bright smile on her face. She told me how glad she was to see me and asked me how my dancing was doing. Her question sent me little shivers down my spine. I looked down, trying to find my words, and I said carefully, "Well, actually, I decided to quit dancing." Her eyes widened abruptly, and she just asked me why. Why would I do such a thing? I had been so talented, devoted, and successful in dancing. Why would I quit? She asked. I tried to explain my quitting with an excuse of wanting an exchange year and experiencing life abroad, but I tried to keep it as general as I could. Our conversation ended with her saying how unfortunate my quitting was, but she still wished me all the best for the future. But I could clearly see the disappointment of my news in her eyes, since she used to be so very fond and supportive of my dancing. What not a lot of people know about me nowadays is that I used to be a competitive ballroom and Latin American dancer. During 6 years, I used to run out of school as soon as the bell rang, while my mother was waiting in the car in front of the building. I jumped in, and we drove right away to my next dance lesson. Every minute counted, and that was almost every day like that. My dance partner and I, we practiced hard and a lot. My goal, my dream, was to become one of the best dancers in the world, a finalist of the World Championship in both disciplines. And frankly, I was on a good way to success, because my coaches were internationally known, I practiced hard while keeping my grades up, and my dance skills, they improved every year very much. But most importantly, I love dancing. It was my passion, the only passion I knew at that time. As soon as the music came on, I felt as if electricity was running through my whole body to my fingertips. Practicing was not even work for me. It gave me pleasure to stand at 7 p.m. in front of the mirror, practicing spins all over again until I finally got to turn around and stand still on both of my feet. My peak of devotion to dancing was probably reflected within my second to last dance partner. My dance partner at that time used to live in Berlin, which is around 200 kilometers away from Leipzig, where I live. So every Tuesday and Wednesday, I took the train after school to Berlin in order to practice there for around 3 hours, until finally taking a later train back and arriving at around 10 p.m. at home. In addition to that, even though that one of the best coaches for ballroom dancing lives here in Leipzig, which I of course took advantage of, One of the best coaches for Latin American dance lives in Bremen, which is even further away. And since my dance partner and I were so fond of Latin American dance back at that time, almost every weekend we sat on a train for around 4 hours in order to spend the whole weekend there in Bremen practicing as much as we could. We even slept over in the dancing hall on mattresses. The only time we got out of the dancing hall was to get some food, to get energy to restart practicing. I was crazy enough to spend half of my week either on the train or in a dancing hall. And my mother was crazy enough to pay for all those dancing lessons and train tickets. I lived that lifestyle for a little bit over half a year, until my dance partner and I decided to end our partnership in dancing. This busy life was not easy, but it was manageable. You have to remember that when I spent all my weekends in Bremen and my Tuesdays and Wednesdays in Berlin, I was just 14 years old. And for school, I of course had homework to do. So all of my homework I did either on train rides or in breaks between 2 dance lessons. And despite my busy schedule, I still managed to be one of the best students in my grade in school. And my school back then was far from easy. I was attending a German-French school, so we actually had geography and history taught in French. But I still managed my time. And I was still successful in managing it. And this proves that if you know how to manage your time wisely, you can actually have it all. And I felt as if I had it all at that time. My dance partner and I were one of the top 10 dancing couples in Germany for Latin American dance for one period. In addition to that, I was multiple regional champion of Saxony in both disciplines, and also semi-finalist of the National German Championship, also in Latin American dance. So it shows that my hard work actually paid off. So why did I quit? That is the $1 million question I tried to answer myself for the last 3 years. And even though I could name various reasons which ultimately led me into abandoning my old life, there was one thought which seemed the most reasonable of all. And to explain that thought, I need to tell you what I felt right before and after I had quit. So the more I stood on the dance floor, the more I realized that my life only surrounds around that one activity. I was known in school and around family as the dancer. And even though this should be a compliment of being so devoted and talented in a sport like dancing, the way I was perceived by outsiders was limited to that. I began to feel trapped, and I felt the need to escape. After I had quit, I did not want to talk about dancing either. Every time the subject was mentioned, as it was the case with my old biology teacher, I began to feel uncomfortable and tense. After many months only, I realized that reflection is the most important thing what I can do right now. And this reflection helped me to understand myself better and the significant impact of my past on my present. Life itself is filled with a spectrum of so many colors. But it was like I saw the world through only one color, which made my life seem to me so monotonous. The lack of colors made me feel trapped, and I felt the need to escape. But to experience the whole beauty of life, people should be able to see all the colors in the world. So I'm asking myself, of course, what would have been if I would have not been as stubbornly focused on my goal? What if I would have found a better balance between my social life and dancing? What if I would have made more time for myself to experience the colors in life I was missing? Maybe I would still be dancing. Maybe I would have still quit by now. I do not know, nobody does, but what I know is whenever I will find something which makes me as equally excited as dancing did, I will not narrow my life down to it. I will not narrow my identity down to it. So my advice to you all is that if you have to leave an activity or work or your old life for some reason, don't be afraid. Wherever you are in life right now, whether you're a competitive athlete who's practicing every single minute in their free time, or a hardworking student who's trying to get the perfect grades, or an adult who wants to make a career, if you have to leave for your environment for some reason, don't be scared. When I quit dancing, I was afraid. I was afraid that I wouldn't find anything in which I'm as good in as dancing. I thought that my destiny, my life only surrounds around dancing, and that's the way I should go. But I realized quickly that this is not the case. Dancing was just a chapter in my life, but there's so many other colors in the world you and I can experience. So the reason why I actually quit is that I realized that dancing was not enough for me. I wanted from life more than dancing. I wanted to experience more colors. And now, I have a variety of hobbies, mostly in politics, in which I participate in so many projects on even school, national, and EU level. After I had quit, I rearranged my whole life. I did an exchange year abroad. I changed school to the Leipzig International School, and right now I'm doing the IB program. Dancing was a big part of my life. It was basically my childhood, the environment I grew up in. But it was just a chapter which lies in the past, and now it is even more important to look forward while learning from my mistakes. It is still a very vulnerable topic to me to talk about, because I was impacted by my activity to such a great extent. Even though I rarely talk about my dancing past, I also feel regretful that so few people know or can actually understand the significant chapter in my past. But who knows? Even though the past is gone, maybe I will come back to dancing in one way or the other. And no matter where I go, dancing will still always be a part of me. Even though the past is gone, the emotions, the feelings I felt during dancing are still present in my mind. And still, whenever I hear an old samba or cha-cha song, I cannot resist to slightly move to the music, remembering the bright spotlights, almost blending, when I stepped on the floor for the next dance. Thank you.